Oh no! Oh no! The zombies! Oh no! The following podcast contains spoilers for Dead Alive. I'm so sorry, Australia and New Zealand. You have been warned.
What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of KFR Spooky News Radio. This is your host, Glenn Button, along with your host, Miguel Magusto.
Hello. Again, I am so sorry, Australia and New Zealand. I know your accents are different, and I don't even know if New Zealanders say "arnar," but
there's a huge trend going around with Australia right now.
Only that, it was the only thing I could think of for a spoiler thing. So. How you doing, Glenn?
Oh, Mike, I'm doing quite swell. It's been a bit chilly. It's been a bit rainy thanks to Hurricane Ian coming up the coast here. But you know,
I've enjoyed the rain and the cold.
I've been loving the rain. I've been comfy, cozy inside my house, just watching it pitter patter across my window. It's been good. It's been good to me. But you know what? I have not been utilizing the time while inside to actually, disappoint you or anything. No way. I've totally watched movies and shows and stuff. You wanna guess how many?
2.
Yeah. Just a little bit.
Yeah.
So I'm continuing that show, Pantheon, which is still going pretty swell. Loving it so far. I fucking hate that I have to sit there every Thursday and just wait for this show to come out episodically. Thanks, Netflix, you've ruined everything. And then, of course, we watched Blonde together, which we've got a review up. A lot of people are saying it's bad. Did we say it's bad? Fuck around and find out, I guess. And then, of course, I watched Dead Alive or Braindead, whatever you want to call it. I don't know.
Yep.
But, Mike, that was pretty quick.
That was very quick, yeah.
Do you have the time to back up all of the time that I need?
Mine's relatively quick. I saw 4.5 movies. I'm not going to mention the 5th one that I'm watched because I haven't finished it yet.
Okay.
Was watching it during my boy's nap, and he woke up before it was over, so I'm going to finish that tonight, but I'll mention that next week. The first film I watched is called Barbarian Sound Studio, which is a very interesting concept for a movie. It's directed by Peter Strickland, starring Toby Jones and a few Italian actors who I had never heard of before. It essentially follows Toby Jones, who is a sound technician, as he works on an Italian horror film. And it's just a very uncomfortable situation throughout. It is technically a horror movie. Nothing terrifying really happens during it, but it's kind of like a psychological horror. Yeah. And whatnot. And it's very interesting. I quite enjoyed it, so I suggest people, especially fans of horror, check that out. Yeah. Real cool. Then I watched Blonde. We have a review for that on YouTube. You can check it out. Did we like it? Did we hate it? Did we talk about it? We definitely talked about it. So
we talked about it.
Yeah, you can check that out.
Did we think about it, though?
We did. We thought about it, yeah. Then on, what day was that? Saturday, I invited you to see Smile with me. You said nar.
I said nar.
You said nar. So, yeah, Smile, it's the latest horror movie craze at the moment. Everyone is talking about how they marketed by buying up one single very expensive baseball ticket. Probably not even that expensive because it was the Oakland A's stadium. But they hired an actress to just sit behind home plate and smile the entire time. I'm a fan of creative marketing, and that is creative marketing.
It's a little creative, it is.
Also, kudos to that actress for smiling the entire time. I think it was the entire time. I didn't watch that game. But this movie, everyone's saying, is a masterpiece. I kind of want to do a review for it. I will say I don't think it's a masterpiece. It is very... It's very fun. It's a very good movie. I really enjoyed it.
So you're telling me it's better than the actual concept? Because I do not want to see this movie at all. But I'm also hearing really good things about it.
You should check it out, honestly. And honestly, I would like to see it again. So if you go, let me know, and I'll try to go with you. But it's the thing that I am not crazy about that everyone else seems to be crazy about. It's like taking the best concepts of horror movies from the past 20 years and kind of shoehorning them together. Like the curse of like from like The Ring, where it's like in 7 days something will happen. The curse of It Follows, where someone passes it on to you. There's similar jump scares like there is in Insidious. Like it all feels very familiar. It's very predictable, but it is very well made. Most of the effects are practical.
Whoa.
And the acting's phenomenal in it, and it just is a very well made film. And so while I don't think it's a masterpiece, I think it is one of the best horror movies to be made. Just, my definition of a masterpiece differs from other people's. But I might do a review for that on YouTube as well. But yeah, moving on. I watched Braindead.
Braindead.
Also known as Dead Alive. I know it as Dead Alive. It was not called Braindead in America because another movie called Braindead came out roughly around the same time, and they did not want to confuse it. So, without any further ado, let's talk about Dead Alive.
On this picturesque block, in this manicured home, something evil, something terrifying, something horrifying is haunting Lionel. His mother.
I thought I told you to spray this house. The place is infested with vermin.
Although she was a little strict,
Look at this dust. It's an inch thick.
he never wished her any harm.
You look after me, love.
Until
Your mother's dead, Lionel.
now, whatever Mom's got
Who's your mother?
has caught on with the neighbors.
She's been bitten! You know what that means?
You can pray,
I kick ass for the Lord!
you can plead, you can beg for mercy,
Help! Someone! Please!
but nothing you can do will stop it.
There's thousands of them!
Because how do you kill something that's already dead? Trimark Pictures presents a modern masterpiece of horror.
Your mother ate my dog!
Dead Alive.
Party's over.
A young man's mother is bitten by a Sumatran rat monkey. She gets sick and dies. I love how matter of fact that is. At which time she comes back to life, killing and eating dogs, nurses, friends, and neighbors. Directed by Peter Jackson, written by Stephen Sinclair, Fran Walsh, and Peter Jackson, based on the story by Stephen Sinclair. It is starring Timothy Balme, Deanna Peñalver, Elizabeth Moody, Ian Watkin, Stuart Deviney, and Jed Brophy, among several others, most of which most American audiences probably would not know. But I picked this movie because it is one of the best, in my opinion, horror comedies to have ever been made. It's crazy that it's one of Peter Jackson's first films because it's so different from his other stuff.
To say the least.
To say the least. And it is widely considered the goriest movie ever made. Does it live up to that hype? Glenn, I know you had some issues with your viewing of it. With your issues, did it seem like the goriest movie ever made?
Technical difficulties. Let's get that right out of the way.
Yeah.
Mike had sent me a link to what was the movie Braindead, otherwise known as Dead Alive. But for some reason, that link sent me to another Braindead link in YouTube to where it censored a lot of what the hell was going on. With that still being said, It is pretty fucking gory, what I watched.
Even the link I did send you, the correct link, still had some stuff removed, but I watched it at like two times the speed while we were talking about it, and it didn't seem like anything major was missing. So the link that will be provided from last week's episode will be sufficient for most people, assuming you don't have the same technical difficulties Glenn did.
Yeah, I don't know what the hell happened, but it was pretty fucking gory, to say the least. And looking through the trivia here, apparently this is one of, if not the only movie to ever satisfy Eli Roth's bloodlust, which is quite saying something. So there's because
he did Green Inferno, which is a remake of Cannibal Holocaust. So yeah, he's.
So yeah, it was pretty wild. But I mean, even with the technical difficulties that I had, you get the gist of what the hell's going on. It seemed to like cut every time something was about to get way too gory. Like once it was like above the line, it kind of hard cut to like just the end of what the hell was going on. But you saw what was like even censored, it still provides like what the hell's happening as a movie as a whole, which is kind of awesome. That a movie can be censored and you still understand quite what's going on by like the next scene has whatever happened in that censored scene going on. Like let's say by chance a man is cut in half or something like that. You know exactly who was cut in half because he pops up in the next scene, wobbling around with his only legs or only body or torso. Yeah, it was pretty kind of wild because most movies can't even do that. I mean, to get to really the start of the movie instead of just jumping like that. This movie was fucking crazy, man.
Yeah. It definitely feels like a fever dream.
Hard to define, very original, but you could see a lot of the inspiration in other horror movies or comedies within it, but still taking inspiration from those things, but making it its own original idea, which a lot of movies cannot do. Yeah. Like, it's okay to do that, and this movie shows pure and simple that you can do that. Yeah. Kudos, because this did not feel like a Peter Jackson movie at all, but it really showed his goddamn range, if I tell you what.
To shed some light on how gory it was, some trivia here is for the final scene alone, 300 liters of fake blood were used. In the lawnmower scene, which I'm hoping was not too censored for you.
No, I saw the whole thing.
You saw the whole... Okay, so
somehow I saw that whole scene.
That's probably the most famous scene, probably. For that scene, 5 gallons per second were pumped through the lawnmower.
Just sit there and think about that. Imagine pouring a gallon of milk.
5 times a second.
Yeah. That's fucking insane.
It's absolutely one of the bloodiest, if not the bloodiest movie of all time. In New Zealand, when it was first released in 1992, it earned more per screen, meaning more tickets per or more tickets were sold per screen than Batman Returns in 1992. Which a lot of people have heard of Batman Returns. Not too many people have heard of Dead Alive. Yeah, and. It's just insane. This is just this. I first saw this probably when I was like 13 or 14.
Holy hell! Are you okay?
Oh, I'm fine because if it's comedy, it's fine. Like
yes.
I mean, I always knew that movies were fake anyway. But my favorite thing about it, upon rewatching it, I've watched it twice in the past week, and I love how it like kind of portrays itself as like a 1950s romance. Yeah, with like the score and the soft lighting and everything, and it's really just the main character Timothy Balmy, who plays Lionel. He's trying to have this 1950s romance with Paquita Maria Sanchez, played by Diana Peñalver. I don't know why I said her full name, but
you just got to paint the picture, buddy. Come on.
Yeah, and he keeps getting distracted because he's trying to keep a zombie invasion from happening. And the comedy is like 90% just in him trying to keep it a secret. And, trying to move things around like it's normal, trying to keep his mom sedated instead of running around.
actually killing her or like doing anything like that.
And no matter how hard he goes in with the needle with the sedation, always going in through the nose without fail.
How many times I clenched? I'm like, oh.
But it's just it's an insane movie. It really does feel like something that probably only New Zealand could make. And I mean that with the utmost respect. Like,
100%.
They have such a distinct sense of humor that is like irreverent, but also, I don't know, like violent.
Yeah, it's
kind of universal. Irreverent, but universal is probably the best thing. And it's just an incredible display of comedy versus horror, which is why I think it's one of the best comedy horrors ever made. And you know, I before I watched it for the first time this year, a week ago, I was worried that it wasn't going to hit the same, but it still does. It hit
a spot. That's for sure. It
hit a spot, and I was eating the first time I watched it.
Well,
and,
let me tell you a little secret about what I did.
Yeah,
I went and I got Wendy's, came back to work, and then started watching this. As I was eating, the 15-minute mark roughly happens when the mom is starting to, shall I say, rot, and then she squirts some into some pudding or tapioca or whatever the hell they were
pudding.
eating. Oh man, I was sitting there.
Pudding.
No pudding. I was eating during that, and man, I was sitting there. I'm like,
yeah.
I'm gonna keep eating this though. It was definitely a movie not for the weak stomached.
Yeah.
Like I don't have a weak stomach, but I was like, oh, that's fucking grody.
Yeah, it's disgusting in all the right ways. It's not going to stop you from eating, but it's going to make you question whether or not you're really that hungry. But another thing I like about this is not only is the gore over the top, but so are all the characters. Yeah. With the exception of Paquita and Lionel, like everyone is just so extreme, either extremely controlling like the mom, extremely shitty like Uncle Les, who's dressed like a cowboy for some reason.
Yeah.
The father's just extremely badass. I think that goes without saying, because he is the Bruce Lee that I referenced last week.
I kick ass for Jesus or God or whatever he said.
I kick ass for the Lord.
Yeah, that was the funniest scene to me, hands down.
Oh yeah, it's just all he's doing is kicking, no punches, just kicking. High kicks and everything. It's hilarious.
Jean-Claude Van Damme of Lord.
Yeah, exactly. But it's such a over-the-top movie that you can't help but love it. It is so ridiculous, and I love it so much, and more people need to see it.
Yeah, it honestly, it could have gone, especially at the 15 mark, it could have gone either way. I was already laughing like the first 10 minutes in, just because everybody's facial expressions and just emotions are maxed out to 100. So like whenever it pans over to Lionel, he's always got this huge, like his eyeballs are wide open. And like when something's going on, he's just, huh? You just see him in the background, super surprised. They're just, everybody's cranked on 100 in this movie. And with all the gore, with all the body horror or anything like that, it could be bad. Like it could be a genuinely bad movie. But luckily, because of the New Zealand humor and Peter Jackson's style and just genuine range of how to make good movies, it really saved it from probably could have being bad, because it could have just been really typecast as any other movie if it didn't have those other elements to it. Because like even with like the inspiration, as I was saying, like the lawnmower scene just felt like something straight out of Evil Dead, and like Ash Campbell. And Lionel looks exactly like Ash in that scene. Yeah, it's like a nice little nod if it's not meant to be.
Yeah, there is a poster for Braindead. It looks like a special DVD made for a quote unquote Peter Jackson collection. It's a screenshot from the lawnmower scene, and when I first saw that, I was like, "What is Bruce Campbell doing on the the Dead Alive thing?" He really does look like Bruce Campbell, and I think. Especially, maybe not so much Evil Dead 1, because that was more serious, but Evil Dead 2 and Army of Darkness, that lean kind of more comedic. You can kind of tell that Sam Raimi and Peter Jackson were kind of on the same level when they first started out, and I don't know. Hold on, let me see when Army of Darkness came out.
It was like I know
92.
Evil
So
Dead 2 came out in 7, I think.
Yeah, so it'd be interesting to talk to Peter Jackson and see if he was influenced by Evil Dead 2 at all. And Army of Darkness came out the same year, so they were probably both shooting the films at the same time. Mm-hmm. But
I feel like I said Ash Campbell at one point, and I didn't mean to say that.
I knew.
But here we are, Bruce Campbell.
Bruce Campbell, who plays Ash.
Yeah. Anyway,
but it really is just horror comedy on cocaine.
It's something else.
And I love it.
I did go back after. I texted after the movie. I was like, man, there are some hard cuts in this. And you were like, oh, I don't know what the hell you're talking about. I had basically the whole movie. I'm like, I don't know, man. Like, I had hard cuts as soon as it started getting gory. And then I re-clicked the link and it sent me to the actual one. I'm like, what the fuck? The one I watched was an hour and 25 minutes. The one that you sent was an hour and 37.
Yeah, that's so weird.
So I went back and I watched little snippets of the parts that I kind of missed, but it was a lot of cuts, so I got the gist no matter what.
Yeah.
But man, it was times 10 of everything that I watched. Especially the ending. That was crazy.
Yeah. Did you switch to the correct link by the time the giant mother came out?
I had finished the movie, okay. And then I re-clicked the link and I watched a little bit of that, but I did get like the gist of most of it.
Yeah,
I did watch the part where she's fucking exploding everywhere with blood.
Yeah, like shining ass come out of blood.
Jesus Christ!
They had to get their last bit. That was actually. I mean, this is not true. But so yeah. I'm not even going to say it anymore because I just said it's not true. But it kind of felt like they just had the rest of the blood they had left over just thrown into there.
Yeah. And just like, oh, we've got 80 gallons or 80, 1,000 pints of everything. Just throw it all in this giant makeshift costume and we'll just explode it with C4.
Yeah. It's definitely one of my favorite movies. And you said you want to watch it again without it being censored, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I really think you should because it's so over the top that even while you still think it's over the top, I think you got like a very small percentage.
Yeah, I got it handed to me on a silver platter.
Yeah, did this? I'm assuming that they didn't cut any of the scenes with the baby. There
was parts of the baby where it was cut, but not a lot of it.
Okay, because that's relatively tame. Like the baby's hideous. I'm
pretty sure you saw the baby a lot. I think it was where he was like dismembering people is where it got cut. Anything that had to do with like genuine. I think part of the. By the way, part of the zombie sex scene got chopped. Like part of the aftermath or something. Yeah. Definitely. And oh my god, I'll get to that in a second. The baby. Parts of where he was just dismembering people, a lot of just dismemberments it seemed to censor, and a lot of like sex scenes it cut out.
The sex scenes I get,
yeah,
especially for YouTube. I'm honestly on the link that I sent you surprised that it was still there, but for the dismemberment is what takes the gore and makes it funny because it's just like cartoonish arms flying everywhere.
Yeah, even the scene where the priest was doing all that like kickboxing, and then he gets launched, and it's just a hard cut, and he's already dead. I guess so. It doesn't like impalement either, because he's launched, and then it hard cut, and he's already on that gravestone.
Yeah.
And I was like, what the fuck? That's when I knew the hard cuts were happening because all that shit was going on. I'm like, what is going on here?
Because before I even sent you that link, I went through all like the most violent parts just to make sure they were still there, and they were still there. Again, the actual runtime is an hour 44 minutes. The link I sent is an hour 37. So something's obviously changed, but none of the parts that I can remember have been changed in that cut.
Yeah.
So it's either like slightly sped up to save that 7 minutes, or
going back to that baby real quick. Oh my god, her and the baby and Paquita, Oh my god, where they're like tussling back and forth and that
Oh, yeah.
blender's popped in and that shit was so fucking funny.
Yeah.
And she's just decking, like punching this kid in the face and just kicking it, and it jumps up to try to get away from the blender, and then the socket pops out and then it ends up in the blender. She just rocks it in the face and it goes out the window.
Yeah.
That shit's hilarious to me.
Yeah, it's
Not,
really good
not
with the
punching
physical.
children, but just the fact that it happened.
It's a zombie baby that was
Yeah.
never alive to begin with. It was born a zombie. So, it's born from a priest zombie and a nurse zombie getting it on. But this movie does the physical comedy so well. Even with the priest fighting, and like all he's doing is just like kicking over and over and over and over and over and over again.
Yep.
To the point where it's just hilarious. The scene, like stupid things like Lionel taking the baby out for a morning stroll to the park. Like, why is he doing that? And then
He had no reason to.
he had no reason. Then it doesn't try to explain it, which I love. It's just like, this is what happens, and deal with it, motherfucker. I like to think Peter Jackson said that.
Yeah, he just spurts out motherfucker to people like that.
Yeah, but it's just so funny with making gore hilarious, making physical comedy hilarious as he's chasing the baby around the park, and just stupid gags like falling onto a seesaw and the baby gets launched.
There's a lot of body launching in this, and it's hilarious.
Yeah, and then when he finally catches the baby and starts punching in the face, and those other adults look on as this man is punching a baby in the face, and they do nothing.
Yep, they just sit there and smile or frown about it.
It's so stupid, and it's so wonderful. It's the best of dumb horror comedy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love it.
It's super meta. It's perfect.
Yeah, it is.
But yeah, this movie, even the censored version, it's genuine fun. Like, I did not expect to have this much fun. Like, I know you said last week there was a lot of gore and all that. I'm like, oh shit, here we go. This was genuine, just crazy, and you're not really gonna often see something like this.
Yeah. And you don't really have to be a fan of horror movies to enjoy it. Like, go in knowing that there's going to be an absurd amount of violence, but know that the violence is specifically there for laughter. It's not meant to be taken seriously.
Yeah. Also, again, not exactly for the weak stomach. So there is that. It does get gory. But, I mean, it is pretty fucking hilarious a lot of the time. So I don't know how you balance that out, but be careful.
Honestly, the worst part is when she shoots pus into the pudding and the guy eats it without knowing.
Do not eat, like, right before you watch this movie. Even after, take a grain of salt
Or
first.
you can be like us and eat it anyway. And just
I'm starving, so I'm just going to eat that. I don't care.
Yeah.
Oh, man. But, I don't know.
You got anything else?
I think that's it, honestly.
Yeah. So that does it for a review for Dead Alive, a.k.a. Braindead Fraser. Braindead. That brings us to the judgment. As always, it needs to be a unanimous decision whether or not it goes on the KFR shelf with the likes of Apostle and Handmaiden. This was my pick, so I get to go first. I hate this movie. I hate it.
It's garbage.
It's garbage. We
Top
shat on
level
it
dookie.
for the past 15 minutes. I don't know why you guys are still listening. And well, actually, I'm glad that you're still listening if you are. But it's a horrible movie that absolutely makes it onto the list.
Horrible movie
Or the
that
shelf.
absolutely...
I'm getting my cinema bucket list and my podcast mixed up.
You better back the fuck off, man. Don't get them mixed up now. This movie's genuine garbage, dookie, poo-poo. But fucking hilarious, one-of-a-kind type shit. You know, the humor. It honestly, some of the times it felt like you were watching some Taika Waititi, but it's Peter Jackson. They're both original, and it's the New Zealand humor.
Yeah.
They're so funny over there.
Yeah.
And so kind and so nice. And holy hell, man. If the first 15 minutes, I already knew that I was probably going to put this on the shelf, to be honest.
Oh, yeah. It's definitely...
It was great.
It's a memorable one for sure. I personally, I know you already really watched it. You only really missed 20 minutes of it, but I'm excited for you to watch the unedited
Also,
version.
you were right. This definitely would have been great to watch together.
Yeah.
Because we would have been fucking rolling on the floor, puking, and laughing.
Yeah. Yeah, it's great. I wish we had watched it together as well, but alas, we did not.
Alas.
So the horrible, terrible film Dead Alive, aka Braindead, does make it onto the shelf. Who knows why? It's honestly horrible. But that brings us to our assignment for next week. Glenn, it is your choice. Yeah. And I know you got a little bit of a situation for us going on here.
Yeah, so here's the deal. I had not watched this film, but I had seen a couple videos on, like, you know, top movies you should see, just period, just genuine, go out of your way and watch these movie type things, because I'm trying to watch a lot more in the times that I do sit down and actually watch movies. I'm trying to watch ones that I should be curious about. So this one was on one of the lists. Now, the problem with that is it's a very hard movie to get a hold of, apparently. It was banned in the UK back in 1980 when it was released, or 1982 or 3 when it was released. But somehow, even if it was just banned there, it is still a very hard film to get a hold of. And you can only get it in one place, it's looking like, and that is Metrograph. Yes, I know what you're saying. Glenn, what the fuck is Metrograph? I'm finding that out now myself. It is like a service fee, just like Hulu and all that, Amazon Prime and Netflix. So it is a $5 a month thing. There's that. So you will have to pay for this one, sadly. Or, you know, don't watch it and just listen to us talk about it. But the movie is going to be called Possession.
Oh, Mark. Your wife keeps her own secrets.
Make her talk to me. It'll be the way that she wants. Tell me.
Well, I think what you want to do to Bob is just...
Inhuman. So what you're doing must be human. What's gonna happen to us?
After you!
I'll stop coming!
Why, I have to go!
I'll follow you!
You can hate me as much as you like. But it's you who wants to know things for me. So please make it possible.
Uglier. You've hardened. For the first time, you look vulgar to me.
Released in 1981, rated R with a 2-hour and 4-minute mark time. And just be aware, I'm going to butcher the fuck out of these names. It's not even looking pretty for me. I can't even read words as it is, but it's going to be fun. A woman starts exhibiting increasingly disturbing behavior after asking her husband for a divorce. Suspicions of infidelity soon give way to something much more sinister. Directed by Andrzej Zulawski. That's what I said. Andrzej Zulawski. Written by Andrzej Zulawski. Screen adapted for fucking film. Frederick Tutton. Honestly, we just reviewed a movie called Braindead, and I think I went it. It's wild. Stars Isabella Adjani. Sam Neill. That one's really easy.
Yeah, we know him.
We do know that guy. Margit Karstensen. Margit Karstensen. God, it's great you get to edit this one.
Heinz Bennett. Just stop
I was
there.
scrolling. I'm like, there's a lot of people not having faces in this movie. That's wild.
Just stop with Heinz
and
Bennett.
Heinz Bennett. And that's really it. Nobody else is in this movie. They don't exist. Or at least the words that are coming out of it. Anyway, it's on Metrograph. Apparently it's really fucking good. Good enough to be banned in almost all categories of watching it. So there's that. Possession.
I've been meaning to watch this one for a long time, but it's not even available for digital rent. I've thought about buying it on Blu-ray outright, but it's $40 at the cheapest, and I'm not 16 anymore and can't just spend $40 on a movie I've never seen.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll see if after I watch it on Metrograph if I find that $40 to be sufficient. So thank you everyone for listening. As always, you can check out our website at www.keystonefilmreview.com. On Instagram, we are Keystone_film_review. Twitter, Keystone_film. Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, Keystone Film Review. And on Letterboxd, I am Mike, KFR.
And I'm Glenn, KFR.
And that will do it until next week when we watch Possession by Andrzej Zulawski. Andrzej Zulawski.
Oh, I'm already getting flashbacks to when I said all of this 3 minutes ago.
Goodbye, everybody.
Bye-bye.